Beautiful night for baseball here at Haymarket Park in Lincoln, Nebraska. And it's the final game of this four-game set between the Grand Prairie Airhogs and the Lincoln Salt Dogs. Hello, everyone. I'm Andy Humphrey. Thank you for tuning in to Grand Prairie Airhogs baseball live on Ustream. Last night, the Salt Dogs took the game against the Airhogs, shutting them out 6-0. Zachary Vars going the distance on the mound for the Salt Dogs. Only 6 hits allowed in the game, and he grabbed his second complete game of the season. And Ryan Searle picked up the loss last night for the Airhogs, so now the Airhogs lead the series 2-1 and can still take the series victory tonight with a win. Salt Dogs looking for the series split and trying to end the homestand with a victory here at Haymarket Park tonight. On the mound for the Lincoln Salt Dogs is a southpaw. It is Kevin McGovern, number 21. McGovern on the season, 2-1 with the Salt Dogs, 2.28 ERA. This will be his 5th start with the team. Started out this year with the Trinidad Triggers in the Pecos League. Rookie out of Philadelphia, played his college ball at Philadelphia University, 25 years old. And this is the lineup that he will face from the Grand Prairie Airhogs under manager Eric Champion. The first man in the lineup, as always, Jimmy Mojica, the shortstop. Then Alex Nunez, the second baseman, will bat second in the lineup. Abel Nieves, the third baseman, will bat third. Then the cleanup hitter, Jason Botts, who is the DH tonight for Grand Prairie. Batting fifth, Brian Myro playing in left field. Batting sixth, Vince DeFazio getting his first action at first base this season. Batting seventh, Frazier Hall in right field. Batting eighth, Brian Peterson, the catcher. And then batting ninth, Eric Baker playing in center. This will be the final meeting between these two this year. They have played a total of 13 times. Last season, they only played 3 games against each other. That was a 3-game set in Grand Prairie, one in which the Airhogs swept 3-0. So looking to end the season series with a win here tonight. So far, they are 5-7 against the Lincoln Salt Dogs, who currently sit in second place in the Central Division in the American Association. Salt Dogs at 35-34. Airhogs, meanwhile, third place in the South at 31-38. Right now, 16.5 games behind the Wichita Wingnuts for the division lead. But at this point, their best chance of making the playoffs is probably via the wild card. Right now, they are 8.5 behind the St. Paul Saints. And in second place in the wild card race are the Laredo Lemurs, the Airhogs' division rival. They'll have a 4-game set against the Lemurs right after this game. That will be the start of an 8-game homestand starting tomorrow night at 6:05 p.m. But now the Airhogs have their minds set on the final game of this 4-game set here in Lincoln. Jimmy Mojica to lead it off for Grand Prairie in the top of the first. Mojica, a 3-game hitting streak, leading off as the shortstop. Last night he went 1 for 4. He is batting .300 this year for the Airhogs. Here's the first pitch from Kevin McGovern, just outside at 7:08 p.m. That's our official first pitch time. Mojica with 1 home run and 22 runs batted in this year. He looks at strike 1 right down the middle on the next pitch, and it's a ball and a strike. Airhogs on this current road trip are 6-3. They have won each of their last 4 road series, not including this one. They can take the series, however, with a win tonight. That's a strike called on the inside corner. It's a ball and 2 strikes now to Jimmy Mojica. Right-handed batter against a left-handed pitcher. Now winding up is McGovern. Here is the 1-2. Bounced foul into the Salt Dogs dugout on the third base line. Still a ball and 2 strikes to Jimmy, the veteran, who is 30 years old, a native of Puerto Rico. Played the last 2 seasons with the Laredo Lemurs. 1 ball and 2 strikes. McGovern winds up and delivers. Again bounced foul, and again into the Salt Dogs dugout. So Mojica fighting off some pitches there, and he's joking with the guys in the Lincoln dugout saying, "Move back, I'm hitting them right to you." 1 ball and 2 strikes. Now another pitch from McGovern. This is line foul, and this almost hits Eric Champion, coaching at third. So Mojica's foul ball's in the line of fire of everyone involved in this one on the third base line. Alex Nunez on deck. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Here's the pitch from McGovern. Again, line foul, this time into the screen. 4 straight pitches fouled off by Mojica. He's about to see the 8th pitch of the at-bat. With a ball and 2 strikes, the count still. After tonight, the Airhogs will finish out the season playing all 3 of their division opponents and nobody else. They will face all 3 of those teams for the entire month of August into the end of the season. Swing and a miss on a pitch in the dirt. It's dropped by Chris Anderson behind the plate, but he tags Mojica for the out. And the first strikeout of the game for Kevin McGovern. Defensive lineup for the Lincoln Salt Dogs: at first base, Ian Gack; at second base, Brandon Pinckney; at shortstop, Luis Nunez; at third base, Kevin Howard; in left field, Jeremy Hamilton; in center field, Matt Forgatch; in right field, Brian Joint; and the catcher is Chris Anderson. First pitch to Alex Nunez, driven into right, and making a shoestring catch is Brian Joint out there in right field. And Nunez lines out to right on the first pitch he sees from McGovern, 2 down. Joint not having to leave his feet for that play, but he was making that catch right near the grass there in right field, and 2 quick outs for McGovern in the first inning. Now the batter is Abel Nieves. First pitch to Nieves is taken a little upstairs there for ball 1. Nieves this season batting .331 with 2 home runs and 29 RBIs. He had a home run a couple of nights ago in the 9th inning of the game, which broke a 3-3 tie and eventually proved to be the difference for the Airhogs as they won 6-3 on Thursday night. The 1-1 pitch is in there again for strike 2. A ball and 2 strikes to Abel Nieves, who will turn 29 years old this month. The 1-2 pitch is on the way. In the dirt, blocked by Chris Anderson to his left. Even count now at 2-2. Nieves, the batting champ last year with the Wichita Wingnuts, batting .357 in 2013. All-Star third baseman. He went 2 for 4 in the All-Star game last Tuesday. The 2-2 pitch is low in the dirt again. Now it's a full count to Abel with Jason Botts on deck. 2 outs and nobody on base. And the Airhogs looking to find the scoreboard, something that they could not do last night. Zachary Vars with the complete game shutout for the Salt Dogs as they went on to win 6-0 in the third game of this 4-game set last night. That's a swing and a miss by Abel Nieves in a 1-2-3 inning, including a couple of strikeouts for Kevin McGovern. And we'll move to the bottom of the first, where the Salt Dogs will have their first chance to the plate. Still scoreless after 1/2 inning here at Haymarket Park. You're listening to Grand Prairie Airhogs Baseball. Welcome back. Bottom of the first inning, still no score between the Airhogs and the Salt Dogs in the finale of this 4-game set. And on the hill for the Hogs is right-hander Danny Gutierrez. Gutierrez will make his 4th start of the year with Grand Prairie. Started out this year with the Fargo-Moorhead Redhawks. Collectively on the season, he has a record of 3-5. With the Airhogs this year, he is 1-2 with a 6.48 ERA. He appeared in relief in the final game before the All-Star break against Laredo. In 2/3 of an inning, he gave up 4 runs on 4 hits to the Lemurs. In his last start, however, on July 23rd, he got the win through 6 innings of work. 2 runs given up on 8 hits, 4 strikeouts, and no walks for the 27-year-old. This is the lineup that he will face from the Lincoln Salt Dogs under manager Ken Oberkfell. Leading it off is Matt Forgatch, the center fielder. Then batting second, Alex Nunez at shortstop. Batting third, John Gaston, the DH. Batting cleanup will be Ian Gack at first. Batting fifth, Kevin Howard at third base. Then batting sixth, Brian Joint in right field. Then former Air Hog Brandon Pinckney playing second base will bat seventh in the lineup. Batting eighth, Jeremy Hamilton in left. And then the catcher, Chris Anderson, will bat ninth. Matt Forgatch leading it off for the Lincoln Salt Dogs. First pitch from Gutierrez, right down the middle for strike one. Forgatch led off last night as well. He went 0 for 4, but did score a run, reaching on a hit by pitch. The 0-1 from Gutierrez in there again for strike two on a fastball. And 0-2 against the center fielder, Forgatch. He's hitting .252 this year, 7 home runs, 26 RBIs. Swung on and bounced foul into the backstop. And it's still 0-2 to Forgatch, who has played 3 seasons professionally now, 1 in Laredo and 2 with Lincoln. Lives in San Marino, California. He is 25 years old. 0-2 pitch on the way. Breaking ball, bounce foul, and down the third base line. So Forgatch staying alive at 0-2, a right-handed batter against a right-handed pitcher. Air Hogs don't have a single left-handed starter. In fact, they only have 1 left-handed pitcher on their staff collectively. That's Bennett Whitmore, who's in the bullpen. So it's been all righty starting for the Air Hogs in this series. That's a swing and a miss, a drop third strike by Peterson, so he goes to first for out number 1. Defensive lineup for the Air Hogs, Vince DeFazio getting his first action of the year at first base. Then over at second base, Alex Nunez. At shortstop, Jimmy Mojica. At third base, Abel Nieves. In left field, Brian Myro. In center field, Eric Baker. And in right field, Frazier Hall. The catcher is Brian Peterson for Danny Gutierrez tonight. So 1 strikeout for Gutierrez to start off his outing, and now he'll face Luis Nunez, the shortstop. Winds up for the first pitch. Here it is. Hit in the air, foul down the right side. No balls and 1 strike to Luis Nunez. Got the start last night at second base. Went 1 for 3 with a run scored. Batting .291 this year with 6 home runs and 16 runs batted in. Gutierrez winds up and delivers. This is popped foul again. DeFazio going from first base to see if he has a play. He does not. It bounces just a couple of rows into the seats for strike 2. Vince DeFazio has played not only at catcher, where he is normally comfortable, but also at third base and even in the outfield this year for Grand Prairie. So he's got a lot of athletic ability out there defensively, and now finds himself at first base. That's swung on and missed by Luis Nunez. Back-to-back strikeouts for Danny Gutierrez in the first inning, 2 down. He also hasn't thrown a single ball in this first. Next batter is John Gaston, the DH, batting in the 3-hole. Gaston last night, 1 for 4 with a run scored and an RBI, as the Salt Dogs scored 5 runs in the 5th inning of last night's game to take a 5-0 lead, and then added 1 with a Brian Joint solo home run in the 7th. Air Hogs were shut out last night by the Salt Dogs 6-0. That's ball 1 outside to John Gaston. Played his college ball at the University of Arizona. Here's the 1-0 pitch, hit high in the air to center field. Eric Baker a few steps to his right, and he makes the grab for out number 3. And a 1-2-3 inning for Gutierrez in the first as well. And after 1 inning, we are scoreless here at Haymarket Park. We'll go to the second when we come back. You're listening to Grand Prairie Air Hogs Baseball. Now start the second inning in Lincoln, Nebraska at Haymarket Park. No score between the Airhogs and Salt Dogs in the final game of this 4-game set. Jason Botts leads things off against Kevin McGovern, the southpaw, on the hill for the Lincoln Salt Dogs. Botts last night went 1 for 4, extending his hitting streak to 11 games. Now batting righty against the left-handed pitcher, Kevin McGovern. McGovern now winds up and delivers the first pitch. Botts looks at it low and away on the 89-mile-per-hour fastball, and it's 1-0 the count. Botts, 34-year-old veteran, and a big guy as well, 6'6", 255 pounds. The 1-0 pitch swung on and missed, 90 miles per hour on that fastball, drifting a little low over the plate, and it's a ball and a strike now. Botts will be followed by Brian Myro and Vince DeFazio, the 4-5-6 part of the lineup due up in the top of the second for Grand Prairie. 1-1 pitch on the way. Bounced on the ground to the shortstop. Nunez to his left to stop it. Throw to first is in time. A one-hop throw to Gack. He dug it out of the dirt and beat Botts by just about a half step at the bag. And that's out number 1. Next batter is Brian Myro. Playing in left field again, as he did last night. Usually has occupied the DH slot for Grand Prairie. First pitch on the way from McGovern. That is taken low for ball 1. Myro in last night's game went 0 for 2. He did reach on a walk. He's batting .255 in his third season with the Airhawks. That's called strike 1 on the outside edge. Myro didn't play the first part of this season due to an injury that he suffered last year. Check swing on a pitch outside. 2 balls and 1 strike. He served as the hitting coach for the team when he was rehabbing from his injury this season, and still serves as a player coach for the Airhogs now that he's back in the active roster. 2-1 pitch is swung on and missed. Another fastball there at 86 from Kevin McGovern. And Myro not able to catch up. 2-2 the count. DeFazio is on deck. Airhogs are 5-7 against the Salt Dogs in 2014. They swept them in the 3-game series last year. This is driven up the middle and into right center field for a base hit. That was a slow roller on the ground from Myro, but he reaches for the first base hit of the night. The batter is now Vince DeFazio, who came back from an injury that he suffered on July 21st. In this series, he now has found himself back into the starting lineup and is trying to become a mainstay as one of the 2 catchers on the roster. Now playing at first base in this game. He bounces the first pitch foul. He went 4 for 5 in Thursday night's contest with 3 doubles, and he drove in 2 runs. Last night, however, he was 0 for 2. Looks at another pitch. It's on the outside edge for strike 2. So DeFazio trying out the first base position now. And ever since Andres Rodriguez left the Airhogs, they have had 4 different people play at the first base position this year. Jason Botts, Frazier Hall, Brian Myro, and now Vince DeFazio. That's upstairs on the 90-mile-per-hour heater from McGovern, and it's now a ball and 2 strikes. A runner at first base and 1 out. Frazier Hall on deck for the Airhogs. We're still scoreless in the top of the second inning. McGovern looks in, a right-handed batter against the left-handed pitcher, and here's the 1-2. A check swing. It's low over the plate. And it's now 2 balls and 2 strikes to Vince DeFazio, the 28-year-old catcher, who last saw action in 2012 when he was playing for Myrtle Beach, the single-A affiliate for the Texas Rangers. Steps out of the batter's box, calling time. 2 balls and 2 strikes to DeFazio, who is batting .247 this year with a couple of home runs and 19 runs batted in. That's bounced on the ground to the second baseman, Pinckney. Goes to shortstop, Nunez. Now they try to turn a double play, and it gets away from the first baseman, Gack. Now DeFazio going to second. Here is the throw, and it's not in time. Well, the Salt Dogs turned 4 double plays in last night's game, but not able to do so there. And some heads-up base running from Vince DeFazio as that throw from Luis Nunez to try and complete the 4-6-3 double play. Got away from the first baseman, Gack, and then Vince DeFazio with some heads-up base running to go to second base. Chris Anderson, who backed up the play at first, was not able to get the throw over to second base in time. So it will be a force out on the runner at first, Brian Myro, 4-6, and then an error charged on the throw to the shortstop, Luis Nunez. That's what's going to put Vince DeFazio at second base. He'll reach first on the fielder's choice. That's strike one called to Frazier Hall, the next batter. Hall playing in right field again. Last night he was 1 for 3. Now got a 2-game hitting streak. Lefty versus lefty in this at-bat. Here's McGovern with the 0-1. It's outside. Blocking it to his left is the catcher, Anderson. It's now a ball and a strike to Frazier Hall. 2 outs and a runner at second base now. Frazier Hall with 6 home runs and 27 runs batted in. The 1-1 pitch, check swing. It's low and away again. Making the count 2 balls and 1 strike. Brian Peterson on deck for Grand Prairie. Hall is the 7th hitter in the lineup and has been reliable as of late, driving in runs for the Air Hogs. With runners in scoring position this year, Hall batting .269. Runner at second base, 2 outs. 2-1 pitch to Hall is low and away again on the 89-mile-per-hour fastball. Now 3 balls and 1 strike to Frazier Hall, the former prospect of the Arizona Diamondbacks. Played for their Double-A club last year, South Bend, and then midseason signed with the Airhawks. That is driven up the middle, but it's stopped by the pitcher, McGovern, catching it in his glove and flips over to first for the out on Hall. That ends the top of the second inning with no runs, a hit, and a man stranded on base for the Airhogs. Bottom of the second is coming your way after this. You're listening to Grand Prairie Airhogs Baseball. Welcome back. It's the bottom of the second inning at Haymarket Park in Lincoln, Nebraska. We're still scoreless between the Airhogs and the Salt Dogs. Thank you for tuning in to Grand Prairie Airhogs Baseball live on Ustream. I'm Andy Humphrey for the final game of this 4-game set. Next batter is Ian Gack. Gack playing at first base and batting in the cleanup hole. Will be followed by Kevin Howard and Brian Joint in this bottom of the second inning. Danny Gutierrez on the mound for the Air Hogs, a 1-2-3 first with a couple of strikeouts. And will now face Ian Gack, who's third in the league in batting average at .365 this year. Also tied for second in home runs in the league with 15. Tips the first pitch foul into the screen, 0-1 the count. He also leads the American Association with a slugging percentage of .675 this year. He leads that by a wide margin, almost 40 points in front of Travis Denker of Laredo. 0-1 pitch is on the way. Upstairs from Gutierrez, and it's a ball and a strike. Right-handed batter, right-handed pitcher, Kevin Howard on deck. Airhogs were shut out last night after taking the first two of this four-game set. Now looking for the series win tonight. That is strike two called on the fastball from Danny Gutierrez. A ball and two strikes to Ian Gack, the veteran. He was drafted by the Rangers back in 2003 in the 26th round. Played for Southern Maryland in the Atlantic League last year before becoming to the Salt Dogs mid-season. Swing and a miss there on that fastball at 93 miles per hour from Danny Gutierrez, and he grabs his third strikeout of the game for out number one in the second. Kevin Howard is the next batter. Howard with 4 runs batted in this series, and he's only played in 2 of the games. Coming back from the disabled list on Thursday night. In last night's game, Kevin Howard went 2 for 4. Looks at a pitch in there for called strike one. That was on the lower third of the zone there. Infield shift is on for the Air Hogs. 3 guys to the right side of the diamond as Howard bounces this to second base. And Alex Nunez with an easy stop and a throw to first base for out number 2. So the shifts working there for the Air Hogs. And it's 2 down now in the second inning for the next batter, Brian Joint. Joint with a solo home run in last night's game. That was his 7th home run of the season. Went 2 for 3 last night. Now batting .325 on the year. Joint now faces Gutierrez, the right-handed pitcher. Here is the first pitch. That's in there for called strike one. 84 miles per hour on the gun there from Gutierrez. 2 outs and nobody on base in the bottom of the second. The 0-1 on the way. That's in there again. And Brian Joint thought it was a little too inside, but it's on the inside edge for called strike 2. No balls and 2 strikes to Joint, who was drafted twice by the Padres, once in 04 and again in 07. Not a check swing on the pitch, low and away, and Joint strikes out. 4 Ks in the early going for Danny Gutierrez. Another 1-2-3 inning. And after 2 complete innings here at Haymarket Park, we still have a 0-0 score. You're listening to Grand Prairie Air Hogs Baseball. Welcome back to Grand Prairie Airhogs Baseball. We're starting the third inning now at Haymarket Park in Lincoln, Nebraska. So far we have no score. Brian Peterson leads it off for the Airhogs in the third. Peterson last night went 0 for 3. Now batting .243 with the Airhogs in 11 games with the team. 2 home runs and 7 RBIs, including a grand slam that he had earlier on in this 10-game road trip for the Airhogs. That was against Kansas City. Kevin McGovern is the left-handed pitcher. Here is the first delivery. That's swung on and missed by Brian Peterson. 0-1 the count. Eric Baker will follow Brian Peterson, and then the top of the order returns with Jimmy Mojica. That is outside on the 89-mile-per-hour fastball from Kevin McGovern. Ball and a strike now to the 35-year-old veteran catcher, Brian Peterson. Last season, played with the Laredo Lemurs. 95 games with the team, and he batted .305. Inside from McGovern, it's 2-1. Peterson seeing his first action of 2014 as an Airhog. The 2-1 pitch is popped foul into the screen, making the count 2-2. Peterson has been known as a very good defensive catcher over the years in his long career, especially in the last couple of seasons. Right-handed batter against the left-handed pitcher. The 2-2 is on the way from McGovern. Swung on and missed, and it's dropped by Anderson. He'll go to first for the out on Brian Peterson. And that is the third strikeout of the game from McGovern, and one down now in the third inning. Now the batter is the rookie Eric Baker, who's looking for a hitting streak now after going 1 for 4 in Thursday night's game. Was not a participant last night. Playing in center field and batting in the 9 spot as he usually does for Grand Prairie. Splitting time now in center field with another rookie in the outfield, Madison Carter. That is low from McGovern on the first pitch. That's ball 1. Rede Rodriguez also absent from the lineup tonight for Grand Prairie. He's another outfielder that they signed a couple weeks ago. Now hasn't played in the last couple of games for Grand Prairie as Rodriguez. That is called strike 1 to Baker on the outside edge. A ball and a strike to the 26-year-old rookie out of Rogers State, located in Claremore, Oklahoma. 1-1 pitch on the way. That's in there on the changeup. And a ball and 2 strikes to Eric Baker. He is hitting .218 this year. Doesn't have a home run, but he does have 20 runs batted in. Right-handed batter against the left-handed pitcher. 1 out, nobody on base, the 1-2. Swung on and missed again. Dropped in the dirt again, and Anderson will throw to first. Baker's a little speedier than Brian Peterson, but still no trouble for Anderson as he gets him out at first base, and that's the 4th strikeout from McGovern. 2 outs, nobody on base for Jimmy Mojica, who led off this game with a strikeout swinging. He was 1 for 4 last night, extending his hitting streak to 3 games. McGovern winds up and delivers the first pitch. Bunt shown, it's outside at 89 from the fastball. Mojica has played for 7 different teams in the American Association in his career. Most of his career has been spent in independent ball. He has played 2 seasons in affiliated minor league ball for the Seattle Mariners organization as well as the Toronto Blue Jays. A ball and a strike to Mojica. Right-handed batter against the left-handed pitcher. Here is the 1-1 from McGovern. Outside again, and now 2-1 the count. Alex Nunez is on deck for Grand Prairie. So far, only 1 base hit in this game. It's come to Brian Myro. There's also been an error by the shortstop, Luis Nunez, for the Salt Dogs. Bounce foul into the screen by Jimmy Mojica, and it's an even count now at 2-2. Mojica last season for Laredo hit .312 and led the team with 61 runs batted in. He's got 22 RBIs this year with 1 home run, and he's batting .300 for Grand Prairie. Chops this one over the pitcher's head. Pinckney to his right to try and stop it. The throw to first gets past Ian Gack, and that will likely be an infield single for Jimmy Mojica as his former teammate Brandon Pinckney tried to throw across his body at second to get the out at first base. Would have been a very tough play. And it will be ruled an infield hit for Mojica, extending his hitting streak now to 4 games. Puts himself on base with 2 outs in the 3rd inning for Alex Nunez. Lined out to the right fielder in the first. Runner going. A pickoff move to first base. The throw to second is in time. That'll be a 1-3-6 putout on Jimmy Mojica trying to steal second base. He does have 8 stolen bases this year, but not one on that attempt, and that will end the top of the 3rd. No runs, a hit, nobody left on base. And after 2.5, we're still scoreless here in Lincoln. You're listening to Grand Prairie Airhogs Baseball. Welcome back. It's now the bottom of the 3rd inning. The Airhogs and Salt Dogs are still scoreless, and Danny Gutierrez will now face former Airhog Brandon Pinckney. Here is the first pitch to Pinckney, the second baseman, and that's called for strike 1 on the outside corner. Pinckney batted .255 in the first half of the season for the Airhogs. Played the entire season with the team last year and led them in base hits with 119. He pops this pitch foul over the roof here at Haymarket Park. The ball's in 2 strikes to Pinckney, who's now on his 3rd team this year. After leaving the Airhogs, he signed with the Amarillo Sox, and just a couple of weeks ago, found himself in a Lincoln Salt Dogs uniform. The 0-2 pitch from Gutierrez, little upstairs on the fastball. It's a 1-2 the count now. Pinckney will be followed by Jeremy Hamilton and Chris Anderson in the lineup. 7, 8, 9 part of the batting order due up for Lincoln. Outside again. And it's now 2 balls and 2 strikes to Brandon Pinckney. Pinckney with the Salt Dogs so far is batting .208 with 3 runs batted in. This is driven high and deep into left center, and no one's going to get to this ball as it bounces just near the warning track. Eric Baker picks it up. That'll be a leadoff double for Brandon Pinckney, who had a double in the first game of this series back on Wednesday night. Did not play in last night's game, but leading off the series finale here in his first at-bat with a double. That'll bring up Jeremy Hamilton, the left fielder. Hamilton in last night's game went 0 for 4. last faced Lincoln once this season. That was back on June 3rd when he was still with the Fargo Moorhead Redhawks. Only lasted 4 1/3 innings, 3 runs allowed on 5 hits, 2 strikeouts, 3 walks. Did not earn a decision in that start. It's not a check swing as Hamilton went around and he twisted his body trying to keep the swing, or trying to keep the bat on his shoulder there, but he will sit down for out number 1, 5th strikeout of the game already for Danny Gutierrez. Now the catcher, Chris Anderson, is the batter. Anderson did not get the start last night in place of Tyler Smith, who went 0 for 4. First pitch to Anderson is bounced off of his body for a foul ball. Anderson started the first couple of games of this series for the Salt Dogs, and so far in this series he is 0 for 7. He's got a man on second base with 1 out in the bottom of the 3rd. We are still scoreless between the Airhogs and the Salt Dogs. We were scoreless last night until the bottom of the 5th inning when Lincoln exploded for 5 runs in the 5th, en route to a 6-0 shutout win. Time is called by Brian Peterson, the catcher. He goes out to the mound to talk with his starting pitcher, Danny Gutierrez. He's only up to 29 pitches, and now 23 of them have been strikes. So only 6 pitches off of the plate for Gutierrez in this start. No balls and a strike to Chris Anderson, who's batting .213 with Lincoln this year. Gutierrez looked at second and now delivers home. The 0-1 is swung on and missed on a fastball at 85. Chris Anderson last season played in Belgium for the Namur Eagles in the Belgian First Division. He's a native of San Diego, California, also played his college ball at San Diego State, 28 years old. 0-2 pitch is now on the way from Gutierrez. This is lined foul down the right side. Still 0-2 against Anderson. He has 2 home runs and 19 RBIs this year. A runner at second base and 1 out. Right-handed batter against a right-handed pitcher. On deck is the top of the order for Lincoln with Matt Forgatch. The 0-2 is on the way. Check swing. It's a little low and outside. Now it's a ball and 2 strikes to Chris Anderson, the catcher. Gutierrez in his 5th appearance for the Airhogs this year in his 4th start. The 1-2. Popped in the air on the right side, and this will be a souvenir for a Lincoln fan as it bounces into the seats. So far, 2 base hits for the Airhogs, 1 for the Salt Dogs. Also an error for Lincoln, which came in the 2nd inning. Still scoreless here in the bottom of the 3rd. Danny Gutierrez looking in. Now gets the pitch he wants from Peterson. Looks at second base. Now the 1-2 is on the way. Popped high in the air again. This one will be playable for Vince DeFazio as he drifts into foul territory, and he makes the catch for out number 2. Just near the warning track on the right side in foul territory there. And now it's two down in the bottom of the 3rd for Danny Gutierrez. Now Matt Forgatch is the batter. Forgatch led off this bottom of the 1st inning here with a strikeout swing. Now's a chance with 2 outs and a runner at second base. Pinckney with a leadoff double, but 2 quick outs by Gutierrez. And now that's ball 1 low and away to Matt Forgatch. Forgatch last night scored a run going 0 for 4. He reached on a hit by a pitch. Now batting .252. The 1-0 pitch from Gutierrez swung on and foul tipped. A ball and a strike now to Forgatch, who usually bats in the lower part of the lineup whenever Chad Mazingo is available for the Salt Dogs. Mazingo now unavailable for the second straight game, and what I'm being told is that he's been placed on the DL for the Salt Dogs. Mazingo, a former Grand Prairie Air Hog, played for the team last year, 27 games. The 1-1 pitch. Check swing. No, that's called strike two. Looked to be a little too outside on the slider by Danny Gutierrez, but it's a ball and 2 strikes now to Matt Forgatch, the 25-year-old. Played his college ball at Pepperdine. Runner at second base and 2 outs. And the 1-2 pitch is on the way. Swing and a miss. A foul tip there, but it's handled by Brian Peterson behind the dish, and that is 6 strikeouts in 3 innings for Danny Gutierrez. And we're still scoreless after 3 here in Lincoln as the Salt Dogs and Air Hogs finish out their 4-game set. You're listening to Grand Prairie Air Hogs Baseball. Top of the 4th inning now at Haymarket Park in Lincoln, Nebraska. Alex Nunez leads things off for the Grand Prairie Air Hogs. We're still scoreless after 3 innings here in Lincoln in the final game of this 4-game set, and the final game of the road trip for Grand Prairie seems to have lasted almost forever. 10 games over the span of 2 weeks, including the All-Star break for the Air Hogs. A bunt shown by Nunez, trying to beat this out. It goes to the pitcher McGovern, and he quickly throws to first for the out on Nunez. 1 pitch, 1 out from McGovern as he scampers off his pitcher's mound to grab that bunt by Nunez, who likes to catch an infielder or 2 off guard with those bunt singles that he is known for since his signing here for Grand Prairie. But that one not resulting in an infield hit, and he will sit down to bring up Abel Nieves with 1 out. Nieves struck out swinging in the first, and he looks at ball 1 low and in from McGovern on the first pitch. Nieves, an all-star third baseman, went 2 for 4 in the all-star game, scoring a run. That was on Tuesday in Winnipeg. Batting .331 this year for the Air Hogs, 2 home runs, 29 RBIs. A check swing that is low for ball 2, and the check swing confirmed by first base umpire Marty Bauer. Your home plate umpire is Sean Hicks, and at third base is Troy Sosa. 2-0 the count to Nieves, who is only a year away from achieving veteran status. He's an LS5 status player on the roster for Grand Prairie. 2-0 pitch, bounced on the ground on the right side. Gack off his glove, but he gathers it, goes to first, and now that'll roll into the Airhogs dugout. No, it won't. It'll bounce off of the fencing, and Anderson quickly going to pick it up and keep it from rolling into the dugout, which would have given Nieves an extra base. The pitcher McGovern went over to cover the bag. Gack knocked it down with his glove, but couldn't deliver an accurate toss over to the pitcher McGovern as he drifted over to the first base bag, and as a result, Nieves is on first base, and it will be ruled an error to the first baseman Gack. Second error of the game for the Salt Dogs. First pitch now to the next batter, Jason Botts, is outside. 90 miles per hour on that fastball from McGovern. Botts grounded out to shortstop in the second inning, 0 for 1 so far tonight. 1-0 pitch, a little upstairs on the fastball again at 90. 2-0 the count to Jason Botts, an 11-game hitting streak for him. He's batting .311 for the Airhogs and also leads the team in home runs and RBIs this year with 9 homers and 54 driven in. That's a breaking ball in there for called strike one to the big 34-year-old veteran Jason Botts. 2-1 the count. Brian Myro on deck. McGovern, the left-handed pitcher, looks at Nieves at first, and now he'll go to the bag. Since the departure of Andres Rodriguez and Palmer Carr, Botts has been needed in the field this year. Has spent most of his time at first, also a few games in the outfield. But usually he does need a rest from the defensive side of things and usually has to occupy that DH hole. Lines this pitch foul down the first base line, so 2-2 to Botts. Welcome back. Now the start of the bottom of the fourth inning here in Lincoln, Nebraska. First batter of this bottom of the fourth for Salt Dogs is the shortstop, Luis Nunez, and then the DH, John Gaston, then the first baseman, Ian Gack, will follow him. Nunez tonight is 0 for 1 with a strikeout in the first inning. 6 strikeouts for both of these pitchers tonight so far. McGovern, the starter for Lincoln, is through 4 innings, and Gutierrez through 3 innings now, looking for 4. Ball 1 is delivered to Nunez, a little low over the plate. Now the 1-0 hit high in the air to shallow center. Mojica is calling for it, the shortstop, as he drifts out there, and he makes the catch, calling off Eric Baker, the center fielder. And that's 1 down in the fourth. That'll bring up John Gaston, the DH for Lincoln, batting in the 3-hole. Last night, Gaston went 1 for 4 with an RBI single, also scored a run. Now batting .293 with the Salt Dogs this year, but he has only played in 22 games now. His 2014 has been plagued by injury. He has been able to play this entire series for the Salt Dogs, and most of this homestand as well. First pitch is low and inside to Gaston for ball 1, and he had to shuffle his feet to dodge that fastball. 1-0 the count to Gaston. Infield shift on again. Mojica almost directly behind the bag, slightly to the right side of the diamond, as that is off of the glove of DeFazio on the ground from Gaston. It rolls into shallow right. DeFazio dove to his right side to try and stop it. It'll be ruled an base hit for John Gaston, the second of the game for Lincoln. DeFazio almost making a great play at first base in his first start as the first baseman for the Air Hogs this year. But instead, on first base with the single is Gack. Or Gaston, I should say. Gack is now the batter, batting in the cleanup hole. So far, 0 for 1 with a strikeout swing in the second. Gutierrez set on the mound to face Gack. Here's the first pitch inside on the fastball, and that's 0-1. Or 1-0, I should say. Kevin Howard on deck for Lincoln, as Ian Gack looks to improve his third best batting average in the American Association. It's at .365 now. A move to first. Diving back in is Gaston. Tag not in time from DeFazio. Only 1 stolen base this year for John Gaston in 1 attempt. Here is the pitch on the 1-0, and it's inside again. 91 on the gun from Danny Gutierrez. 2-0 the count, though. Ian Gack last night went 2 for 3 with a 2-run RBI double that bounced off of the wall in left center field. John Gaston leading off at first. Here's the 2-1. It's line foul into the screen. 2 balls and 1 strike, the count to Ian Gack, who also has 48 RBIs this season to lead the Salt Dogs. 15 home runs as well. That's good for tied for second in the American Association. He's tied with A.J. Kirby Jones of the Sioux Falls Canaries. 2-1 pitch on the way, driven into center, and it's going to fall for a base hit. Baker gets in front of it, trying to go 2 bases is Gaston, diving back into second base now as the Air Hogs tried to get him at the bag, but he gets in safely. And that is a single for Gack to put runners at first and second base with only 1 out in the 4th inning. And now the Salt Dogs with the first multi-hit inning of this game now. Here in the bottom of the 4th with a couple of straight singles from Gaston and Gack to bring up Kevin Howard. who really does know how to drive in those runners for the Salt Dogs this year. 39 RBIs and 4 in just 2 games in this series. The first pitch is taken low and inside for ball 1. He's 0 for 1 in this game so far, grounded out to second base in the second inning. .317 hitter this year for the Salt Dogs. 1-0 pitch is in there this time for strike 1 on the 89-mile-per-hour fastball. 1-1 the count to Kevin Howard, a veteran who played for the University of Miami in college and still lives in Miami, Florida. 33 years old. Now faces a 1-1 pitch. Here it is. On the inside corner this time for called strike 2. Runners at first and second base and only 1 out in the bottom of the 4th inning. Lincoln threatening to be the first team to score here in this 4th. They've now out-hit the Airhogs 3-2. Gutierrez looks at second. Now the pitch on the 1-2. Bounced foul on a pitch low from Gutierrez. Still a ball and 2 strikes to Kevin Howard. Last season, Howard played for Lancaster in the Atlantic League. On deck for the Salt Dogs is Brian Joint. Danny Gutierrez in his 4th start with Grand Prairie, after coming here from the Fargo-Moorhead Redhawks. The 1-2 pitch on the way. That's called strike 3 on the inside corner once again. And Howard sits down on strikes. 7th strikeout of the game for Gutierrez, and it brings up Brian Joint with 2 outs. Joint 0 for 1 with a strikeout so far. Last night, a solo shot in the 7th inning to extend the Salt Dogs lead to 6-0. That's the score that they went on to win last night's game by. Joint a right-handed batter against Gutierrez, the right-handed pitcher. Here is the opening delivery. Called strike 1 on the inside edge of the zone. Runners at first and second base, and now 2 outs in this bottom of the 4th inning. Still no score here in Lincoln. After this game, the Airhogs will travel home to start a 4-game set tomorrow with the Laredo Lemurs. That is outside, 2-0 the count to Brian Joint. Excuse me, it's a ball and a strike. Home plate umpire Sean Hicks holding up the count to remind the press box up here. Time is called by the batter before the windup. Runners at first and second base for Lincoln. And 2 outs now in the bottom of the 4th. Gutierrez set again at the letters. Here's the 1-1 pitch. On the ground to the shortstop. Mojica flips to Nunez at second, and that will end the 4th inning, forcing out Ian Gack at the second base bag. No runs, 2 hits, 2 men left for the Salt Dogs. And after 4 complete here in Lincoln, we are still scoreless. You're listening to Grand Prairie Airhogs Baseball. Welcome back. We're now starting the 5th inning at Haymarket Park in Lincoln, Nebraska. Still no score between the Air Hogs and the Salt Dogs as Vince DeFazio leads it off for Grand Prairie. Fazio tonight 0 for 1. He reached on a fielder's choice in the 2nd inning. Got to second base on a throwing error by the shortstop Luis Nunez as they tried to turn a double play. Kevin McGovern on the mound for the Salt Dogs. Here's the first pitch. Taken for called strike 1 on the outside corner by Vince DeFazio. 89 miles per hour on the fastball. Now the 0-1 pitch on the way. That's in there again, called strike 2. Fazio will be followed by Frazier Hall and Brian Peterson, the 6, 7, 8 hitters due up for the Air Hogs here in the 5th. Bouncer on the ground to the left side. Howard will be the one to stop it. He throws to first and gets the out on Vince DeFazio, who does have some speed. So don't let the catcher designation fool you. But he's out there for out number 1 in the 5th inning. Now the batter is Frazier Hall. Hall grounded out to the pitcher in the 2nd inning. Frazier this season with a .281 batting average, 6 home runs, 27 runs batted in. First pitch on the way from McGovern. Inside to Frazier Hall on the breaking pitch. And it's 1-0. Hall last night 1 for 3. 2 nights ago, he had a couple of doubles, driving in 2 runs as well. He looks at called strike 1. Now the count is a ball and a strike with Brian Peterson on deck. The 1-1 from McGovern. A swing from Frazier Hall there. And the count now 1-2. Frazier Hall, 26 years old, listed as an infielder, but mostly used in the outfield now for the Air Hogs, playing in right. He can also play at third base and first for Grand Prairie. That's not a check swing from Hall as he went over the plate. Third base umpire Troy Sosa with the out call there. And that's 2 down, the 7th strikeout of the game for McGovern, and both of these pitchers have really been dealing against these batters here. A combined 14 strikeouts now by both of these starters, McGovern and Gutierrez. And that is out number 2 in the 5th. 2 outs and nobody on for Brian Peterson. Peterson struck out in the 3rd inning to go 0 for 1 so far tonight. Peterson bounces the first pitch to shortstop. Luis Nunez gobbles it up and throws to first. For a 1-2-3 inning for Kevin McGovern. And after 4.5 here in Haymarket Park, still no score in the final game of this 4-game set. You're listening to Grand Prairie Air Hogs Baseball. Bottom of the fifth inning here at Haymarket Park in Lincoln, Nebraska. Airhogs and Salt Dogs still scoreless in the final game of this four-game set. And Brandon Pinckney will be the one to lead things off in the bottom of the fifth for Lincoln. Pinckney 1 for 1 with a leadoff double, which came in the third inning against his former team. Started out this season in 2014 with Grand Prairie and also spent all of last year with the team. 32-year-old veteran. Low and outside on the first pitch from Danny Gutierrez. That's ball one. Brandon Pinckney played his college ball at Sacramento City and still lives in Sacramento, California. He's a native of Echo Grove, California. The 1-1 pitch on the way from Gutierrez. That's in there for called strike two at 83 on the gun from the starter, Danny Gutierrez. After Pinckney will be Jeremy Hamilton and Chris Anderson in the lineup for the Salt Dogs. 1-2 pitch on the way. Hit high in the air, foul down the right side. Still a ball and 2 strikes to Pinckney. The Salt Dogs have out-hit the Airhogs 3-2, and we still have no score here in the bottom of the fifth inning. The Salt Dogs got on the board for the first time in last night's game in the fifth, breaking the scoreless tie, but Pinckney is going to strike out here on what he tried to keep as a check swing, but went around the plate, said home plate umpire Sean Hicks. And that is the 8th strikeout of the game for Danny Gutierrez. And we're only in the fifth inning. Now 15 combined strikeouts for these two starters tonight, as we are just past halfway through the game. Jeremy Hamilton has one of those strikeouts. He's 0 for 1 tonight. It came in the third inning. Now tries to get on the hitting side of things here as he pops the first pitch foul over the screen for strike one. Hamilton was acquired by the Lincoln Salt Dogs on June 25th in a trade for a player to be named later. That trade was with the Gary South Shore Railcats, who lead the Central Division and are right now 5 games in front of the Salt Dogs for the Central Division lead. Fouled off again. It's no balls and 2 strikes to Hamilton. Left-handed batter against a right-handed pitcher. Hamilton was a 5th-round pick of the Philadelphia Phillies in the 08 MLB draft. Bounces the next pitch foul down the third base line. In 2008, he was the Horizon League Player of the Year, batting .410 for Wright State. No balls and 2 strikes with Chris Anderson on deck. Danny Gutierrez now winding up for the 0-2 pitch. Swing and a miss, 89 miles per hour on the fastball. And back-to-back strikeouts for Gutierrez. He now has 9 in this start. Now Chris Anderson is the batter with 2 outs and nobody on base in the fifth inning. Anderson so far in this series is 0 for 8. 0 for 1 tonight with a pop-up in foul territory to first. And that's called strike one on the first pitch to Chris Anderson, the catcher, batting in the 9 hole. Anderson, a .213 hitter for the Salt Dogs this year. Swing and a miss on another fastball at 89 from Danny Gutierrez. And it's no balls and 2 strikes. Gutierrez has really been throwing strikes in this outing. Only 15 balls against the Salt Dogs in 66 pitches now. And he gets a 3-pitch strikeout on Chris Anderson as he swings and misses at it. It's 10 strikeouts now for Danny Gutierrez as he strikes out the side in the fifth. 1-2-3 inning, and we're still scoreless after 5 here at Haymarket Park. You're listening to Grand Prairie Airhogs Baseball. Welcome back to Grand Prairie Airhogs baseball. Top of the 6th inning, and we're still scoreless here at Haymarket Park in Lincoln, Nebraska. Now we'll take a look at some scores around the American Association tonight on this Saturday evening. Top of the 5th inning in Gary South Shore, and it's still scoreless between the T-Bones and the Railcats. Top of the 7th inning, and the Winnipeg Goldeyes on the road visiting the Sioux Falls Canaries. Goldeyes with a 9-6 lead in the top of the 7th. Top of the 4th inning in Sioux City as they lead the Fargo-Moorhead Redhawks 4-1. A little bit of a rain delay in St. Paul, but they have gotten things underway there as the St. Paul Saints are trailing to the league-leading Wichita Wingnuts 3-0, that game in the top of the 3rd. And Laredo all over Amarillo in the top of the 3rd inning, 6-0, as they are hosting the Amarillo Sox in that series. Still scoreless here as strike one is taken by Eric Baker, the 9-hitter for the Airhogs, leading off things here in the top of the 6th. Baker 1 for 3 tonight with a strikeout in the 3rd. Here's the 0-1 tipped foul, bouncing into the backstop. No balls and 2 strikes to the rookie, Eric Baker. He'll be followed by the top of the order. Jimmy Mojica and Alex Nunez due up for Grand Prairie. Airhogs now have not scored in 14 consecutive innings as Baker swings and misses at a curveball from Kevin McGovern, and he earns strikeout number 8 on the night. With that one on Eric Baker, and it's one down in the 6th. So both of these pitchers really putting on a show here for the fans here at Haymarket Park. Danny Gutierrez with 10 strikeouts and McGovern now with 8. One down, and Jimmy Mojica is the batter. He is 1 for 2 tonight. First pitch to him is taken outside for ball 1. Mojica singled in the 3rd inning and then was caught stealing 1-3-6 as McGovern, the left-handed pitcher, was looking straight at him as he tried to go on the pitch there to Alex Nunez. But then McGovern went straight to the bag, and then Gack with a throw over to the shortstop, Luis Nunez, to tag out Mojica at second base, and that's how the top of the 3rd inning ended. A ball and a strike now to Jimmy Mojica as the windup and the pitch comes from McGovern. Bounced on the ground to the second baseman, Pinckney, and he charges in to make the stop and makes a soft throw over to first base. But it gets Mojica, his former teammate, for out number 2. Not only is Mojica Pinckney's former teammate, but also his former middle infield partner. 2 outs and nobody on for Alex Nunez, who is 0 for 2 tonight. Swing and a miss on the first pitch at 94 miles per hour from Kevin McGovern. Nunez has flown out to right and bounced out to the pitcher in this game. The 0-1 pitch on the way. That is low and away this time to Alex Nunez, the 33-year-old veteran from Venezuela. Came out of retirement to start playing again this year. Started out with the Sugar Land Skeeters, and then in mid-June signed with the Airhogs. Bouncer on the ground to first base. Gack keeps it in fair territory and will take it to the bag himself. And that's a 1-2-3 inning for Connor McGovern, or Kevin McGovern, I should say. He has now sat down the last 8 Airhogs batters. To the bottom of the 6th we go. Still no score here at Haymarket Park between the Airhogs and the Salt Dogs. You're listening to Grand Prairie Airhogs Baseball. Welcome back. The Air Hogs and Salt Dogs are scoreless after 5.5 innings here in Lincoln. Danny Gutierrez on the mound for the Air Hogs has 10 strikeouts in this game and has sat down the last 5 Salt Dogs batters. Now will try to continue that streak against Matt Forgatch, leading things off. Forgatch has 0 for 2 with a couple of strikeouts tonight. The first pitch from Gutierrez is hit high in the air, and it's going to go foul over the screen. No balls and 1 strike to Matt Forgatch, who leads off this 6th inning for the Salt Dogs. After him will be out Luis Nunez and John Gaston. The 0-1 pitch from Gutierrez, hit high in the air to left center field. Who's going to call for it? It's going to be Baker, the center fielder. Now he makes the catch. No problem out there for the rookie center fielder, and it's out number 1. Next batter is the shortstop, Luis Nunez. He is 0 for 2 with a strikeout and a pop-up to shortstop. Nunez started in last night's game at second base and went 1 for 3 with a run scored. Nunez is a veteran from Venezuela, just like his counterpart, Alex Nunez, is. That first pitch is driven into center. Baker coming in, dives, can't make the catch, and it gets past him. Going from first to second now is Nunez, and that will be a double. As Nunez is safe at second base with 1 out. Baker not able to make that catch out there in shallow center field as he tried to dive for that line drive. No error given to Baker on the play, at least not yet. It is going to be ruled a double for Luis Nunez. That'll bring up John Gaston. Gaston tonight 1 for 2, grabbed a single in the 4th inning. And now has a chance with a runner in scoring position and 1 out in the 6th. Left-handed batter against the right-handed pitcher, Gutierrez. Here is the first pitch. Line foul down the first base line. And strike 1 to John Gaston, who lives in Boise, Idaho. Played his college ball at Arizona. Last season played for the Laredo Lemurs before coming to the Salt Dogs mid-season. 27 years old. And in his career, he has made it as high as Double-A ball. The 1-strike pitch on the way from Danny Gutierrez. It is low over the plate for ball 1. Gaston the DH, and he will be followed by Ian Gack, the first baseman. Runner on second base and only 1 out. Gaston with runners in scoring position this year, batting .364. 1-1 pitch is on the way. That's called strike 2 on the outside edge of the zone. And Gutierrez has really been able to find the strike zone in this outing here. 10 strikeouts. And only 15 balls on his 73 pitches now. The 1-2 pitch is a little inside, and it evens the count at 2-2. John Gaston this year for the Salt Dogs has 18 RBIs, also 4 home runs, hitting with an average of .293. The 2-2 pitch is upcoming, and here it is from Gutierrez. Check swing on a pitch a little bit outside, 88 miles per hour on the fastball from Gutierrez, but it's a full count now. Still scoreless after 5.5 innings. We're in the bottom of the 6th, and the Salt Dogs have a runner at second base with only 1 out. Air Hogs have been out hit 4-2 in this game. Salt Dogs with 2 fielding errors, Air Hogs with none. 3-2 payoff pitch is upcoming from Gutierrez. Here it is. Swung on and hit into the air in left field. That is not going to be caught by either the third baseman Abel Nieves or the left fielder Brian Myro. Bounces on the warning track in foul territory and into the stands. Still a full count to John Gaston. The Airhogs are 31-38 on the year and 5-7 against the Salt Dogs. This is the final time these two will meet this season. They've met a total of 13 times. 3 balls and 2 strikes. Gutierrez set at the letters, a runner at second and 1 out. Looks at second. Here's the pitch now from Gutierrez. Hit high in the air again in foul territory. Nieves chasing it, and he won't get to this one either. This one bounces into the seats there. Actually on the lawn there in left field, where a bunch of young fans have set up some towels there at Haymarket Park, sitting on the grass. 3 balls and 2 strikes still to John Gaston. Ian Gack on deck for the Salt Dogs. A runner at second base and 1 out. Salt Dogs were the first to score last night in the bottom of the 5th inning. Airhogs were shut out 6-0. The 3-2 pitch. Popped in the air again on the left side. Myro chasing it, and this will also bounce out of his reach just in front of the Salt Dogs bullpen, way in the left field corner. And this is now the 10th pitch of the at-bat upcoming to John Gaston. Luis Nunez at second base, 1 out in the bottom of the 6th. Airhogs after this game will travel home for an 8-game homestand, but essentially it's going to be a 9-game homestand as they will finish up a game that was postponed way back in late May with the Laredo Lemurs before they start their 4-game set on Sunday. So 5:05 is the start time, or really the resuming time for that game. That is outside on the breaking pitch, and it's ball 4. First walk allowed in the game by either pitcher. And now the batter is Ian Gack, now with runners at first and second base and only 1 out. Gack tonight is 1 for 2 with a single in the 4th inning. And he leads the team in RBIs with 48 this year, as well as the league leader in slugging percentage at .675. First pitch from Gutierrez is taken upstairs for ball 1. Ian Gack with runners in scoring position this year is batting .368 in 57 at-bats in situations like this. 1-0 pitch is hit high in the air, foul, and out of play. A ball and a strike now to Ian Gack, the veteran. He is going to turn 29 years old this month on August 10th. He lives in Bellevue, Washington. Right-handed batter against a right-handed pitcher. Runners at first and second base and only 1 out in the bottom of the 6th. Still no score between the Salt Dogs and the Airhogs. 1-1 pitch. Driven into left. Brian Myro a couple steps back. He makes the grab. That was almost hit right to him, as Gack will be sitting down back in the dugout for out number 2. Now 2 outs and runners at first and second base, but another tough out to the plate, Kevin Howard. He is 0 for 2 tonight. But Howard this year with runners in scoring position is batting .410. Left-handed batter against the right-handed pitcher, Danny Gutierrez. Howard, the third baseman, batting in the 5-hole. Time is called by Brian Peterson, the catcher. 2 outs and runners at first and second base. Howard with 39 runs batted in for the Salt Dogs this year as the first pitch comes to the plate. That is low and inside for ball one. Brian Joint is on deck for Lincoln. Now time is called by Brian Peterson, going out to talk with Danny Gutierrez. Gutierrez now up to 83 pitches, and 61 of them have been strikes. Having a pretty good outing so far. 5 2/3 of shutout work. 10 strikeouts and only 1 walk, and 4 hits allowed to the Salt Dogs in this 4th start with Grand Prairie this year. This is also Gutierrez's 10th start all season, if you go back to his numbers with Fargo Moorhead in 2014. The 1-0 pitch is on the way. Hit in the air to center field. Eric Baker a few strides to his right side. He positions under it for out number 3. So Gutierrez escapes the jam there. And after 6 innings here at Haymarket Park, we still have no score between the Airhogs and the Salt Dogs in the final meeting between these two this year. You're listening to Grand Prairie Airhogs Baseball. Welcome back to Haymarket Park. A dozen zeros on the inning scoreboard as we go to the seventh inning of this game with no score between these two teams. The Airhogs and the Salt Dogs. Abel Nieves leading it off for Grand Prairie in the top of the 7th inning. The all-star third baseman is 0 for 2 tonight. He has reached in the 4th inning of this game on an error by the first baseman, Ian Gack. Kevin McGovern on the mound so far has allowed no runs to the Airhogs on just 2 hits. That is low on the first pitch for ball 1. Nieves on the season, a .331 batter. 2 home runs, 29 runs batted in. One of those home runs came in this series. A high chopper to the left side. Howard barehands it off the ground, and he gets the out at first base. What a great throw from the veteran third baseman, Kevin Howard. Barehanding that one off the ground. At first, the pitcher, McGovern, thought he had a play at it, but Howard backing him up on that high chopper to the left side and just beating Nieves by half a step at the first base bag, and it's out number 1. Jason Botts, the next batter. Botts 0 for 2 with a strikeout tonight. Batting on the right-handed side of the plate. That's called strike 1. Botts the DH tonight, batting in the cleanup hole. He'll be followed by Brian Myro in this top of the 7th inning. The 0-1 pitch, swung on and missed Not handled by Chris Anderson behind the dish. It's no balls and 2 strikes. The Airhogs have now been shut out in the last 15 innings that they have played in, and trying to avoid extending that scoreless drought here in this 7th. The 0-2 pitch on the way from McGovern. It's low and outside to make the count 1-2. The Airhogs were shut out last night for just the 5th time this season. Zachary Vars going the full distance for the Salt Dogs as they went on to win 6-0. 1-2 pitch high and upstairs again. 92 on the gun from Kevin McGovern, the left-handed starter for the Salt Dogs, making his 5th start of the year with the team. Started out this season with the Trinidad Triggers in the Pecos League. 2-2 pitch to Botts is in the dirt, and now it's a full count. Kevin McGovern now with 84 pitches and 56 strikes. He's got 8 strikeouts in this game and no walks allowed. The 3-2 payoff pitch is line foul down the right side. So a couple of great performances from these 2 starting pitchers tonight. As we're still scoreless through 6 innings. Kevin McGovern, the Salt Dog starter, with 8 strikeouts, and Gutierrez for the Airhogs with 10. And only 1 walk allowed between both of these two. That was given up by Gutierrez in the last inning. Botts lines another pitch foul into the screen this time. Still 3-2 the count. And only 6 base hits to both of these teams combined in this game so far. So really a true pitcher's duel as we're now in the top of the 7th inning. 1 out, nobody on base. The 3-2 payoff to Botts is lined on the left side. Knocking it down is Howard, and now he won't have a play at first base. Did a good job of keeping it from going into left field, but not able to make a spectacular play that time, as Botts will be at first base with the infield single. Third base hit of the night for the Airhogs, and it brings up Brian Myro, who has one of those base hits, which came in the 2nd inning. He is 1 for 2 tonight. McGovern with the first pitch, high and inside, and Myro ducking from that one. It's ball 1. Brian Myro, a 37-year-old player coach for the Airhogs in his 3rd season with the team. Lefty versus lefty in this at-bat. Here is the 1-0. Driven into center. Charging in his Forgatch, and he makes the catch on the run for out number 2. Forgatch had to stop for just a second to judge where that one was going to go, and then quickly he realized it was going to bounce a few yards in front of him if he didn't start running. And just able to make the catch on the run there for the 2nd out of this 7th inning. Now Vince DeFazio will be the batter. DeFazio is 0 for 2 tonight. He reached on a fielder's choice and an error in the 2nd inning. First pitch from McGovern is outside on the 90-mile-per-hour heater for ball 1. DeFazio in Thursday night's game was 4 for 5 with 3 doubles, driving in a couple of runs. And last night he was 0 for 2. So that brings his average to 247 this year. He's got a couple of home runs. Both of those home runs came in one game against the Sioux Falls Canaries back in mid-July. The 1-0 pitch taken low for ball 2. Now the count moves to 2-0 to Vince DeFazio with Frazier Hall on deck. 2 outs, a man on first base. We are still scoreless here in the top of the 7th. Pace of the game has really sped up here, as the next pitch is low and inside to Vince DeFazio, shuffling his feet to dodge that breaking pitch from McGovern. Now he's ahead 3-0 in the count. DeFazio playing at first base for the first time this year for Grand Prairie. He's also played at third and in the outfield, listed on the roster as a catcher. 3-0 pitch is on the outside edge this time for strike 1. DeFazio, 28 years old and the former Texas Rangers prospect. Played for Single A Myrtle Beach in 2012. The 3-1 pitch. Check swing, but called strike 2. 91 miles per hour on the gun from McGovern. And he fights back to a full count. Frazier Hall on deck for Grand Prairie. A runner at first base and 2 outs. Right-handed batter, left-handed pitcher. Now the payoff pitch will not come as Vince DeFazio calls time first. Resets his batting gloves. 3 balls and 2 strikes, 2 outs here in this top of the 7th. Runner will likely be going. That's Jason Botts at first base. Here is the pitch. Swing and a miss. And the 9th strikeout of the game for McGovern. And we are still scoreless. No runs, a hit, a man stranded at first. And going to the bottom of the 7th, the Airhogs and Salt Dogs still have no score in the final game of this 4-game set. You're listening to Grand Prairie Airhogs Baseball. Welcome back. Bottom of the 7th inning. Still a 0-0 score between the Airhogs and the Salt Dogs as Danny Gutierrez returns to the pitcher's mound for the Airhogs. Now shutting out the Salt Dogs through 6 and looking for another shutout inning as Brian Joint leads it off for Lincoln. He's 0 for 2 tonight with a strikeout and a reach on a fielder's choice. Joint, the right fielder, he had a bomb to left center field in last night's game for his 7th home run of the year. It's called strike 1 on the outside corner from Gutierrez. Gutierrez's longest outing of the season this year has been 7 innings. And he's gotten there twice this year, once with Grand Prairie on July 11th against Sioux Falls in his first start with the team. And then again way back on May 29th against Sioux City when he was still in a Fargo Moorhead uniform. Hasn't had a shutout in any of his starts this year. He has shut out outings this season, but only in relief. That came twice as a Fargo Moorhead Red Hawk this year. Once against Kansas City and once against Laredo. So looking for his first shutout start this season as an Airhog. No balls and 2 strikes, the count to Brian Joint. Wind up and the 0-2 delivery from Gutierrez is just missing the outside edge, or the inside edge, I should say, for ball 1. After Joint will be Brandon Pinckney and Jeremy Hamilton, the 6, 7, 8 part of the lineup for the Salt Dogs. Lined up the middle, sliding to stop it is Nunez, but a one-hop throw gets past the first baseman DeFazio. And going back to keep it from going into the Airhogs dugout is the catcher Peterson. A nice job by Nunez to slide and stop it from going into center. But DeFazio not able to handle the one-hop throw from Nunez at second base. We'll see what the ruling is on that play. Still hasn't been shown on the scoreboard yet, as Joint is safe at first base. And Eric Champion is now walking out from the dugout for the Airhawks. Little bit of action in the bullpen for Grand Prairie. It appears that the left-hander Bennett Whitmore is warming up. Still no ruling on the board yet as to what that will be ruled for Brian Joint, either a single or an error. As there's a meeting with the infield as well as the battery, as Eric Champion is talking with his starting pitcher, Danny Gutierrez. Now the meeting on the mound is over. Still not sure what the ruling is. It hasn't been shown on the scoreboard yet. Official scorer taking his time with what that play is going to be, as the next batter, Brandon Pinkney, will come to the plate. Pinkney tonight is 1 for 2, led off the third inning with a double, and then struck out in the fifth. It's going to be a hit for Brian Joint on the play. Fifth base hit of the game for the Salt Dogs. The first pitch to Pinkney is right down the middle for strike one. Brandon Pinkney appeared against his former team as an Amarillo Sox player as well. He made his debut with the Sox against the Airhogs right after he was released by Grand Prairie in mid-July, or mid-June, I should say. This next pitch is lifted foul and into the stands. No balls and 2 strikes the count to Brandon Pinkney with Jeremy Hamilton on deck. A runner at first base and nobody out. Bottom of the 7th inning, and we still have no score. Gutierrez now with the 0-2 pitch to Pinkney. Bounced on the ground. Nunez can't get there, and it's going to roll into right field for a base hit. Pinkney 2 for 3 on the night. And now back-to-back base hits for the Salt Dogs to lead off this bottom of the 7th. That'll bring up Jeremy Hamilton, the left fielder. Tonight, Hamilton is 0 for 2 with a couple of strikeouts. And it appears that the corner infielders for the Airhogs will be shifted into the grass here, possibly expecting a sacrifice bunt from Hamilton. As Gutierrez is set from the stretch on the mound. And the bunt will be shown by Hamilton. It's down the third base line, and it's rolling foul. So strike one to Hamilton on the bunt attempt. Runners at first and second base and nobody out. Now 6 base hits for the Salt Dogs, 3 for the Airhogs in this game, 2 errors by the Salt Dogs as well. And we still are scoreless in the bottom of the 7th. Danny Gutierrez with 10 strikeouts on the night and looking to keep a clean slate against this Salt Dogs team. The 0-1 is on the way as the bunt is laid down again, but it's popped foul into the screen, and now it's 0-2 against Hamilton. Now a little less confident about the bunt now with 2 strikes. As he looks at the signals from Ken Oberkfell, the manager who is coaching at third. Oberkfell in his 2nd year as the Lincoln skipper. Played on the St. Louis Cardinals World Series winning team in 1982, did Oberkfell. No balls and 2 strikes. 2 on and nobody out. Gutierrez looks at second base, now calls off Mojica, who was holding on the base runner, and that's a swing and a miss on a 92-mile-per-hour fastball from Danny Gutierrez, and he grabs his 11th strikeout of the game, and it's a big out as well. 1 down now with runners at first and second base, and the next batter is Chris Anderson. Anderson tonight is 0 for 2 with a pop-up in foul territory to the first baseman DeFazio, as well as a strikeout swinging. 11 strikeouts for Gutierrez. 10 of them have been by way of a swing and a miss by the batter on the 3rd strike. Fastball has really been dominant for Gutierrez in this start, as he now tries to continue that against Anderson, the next batter. First pitch is hit high in the air to center field. Eric Baker a few steps back, and he makes the grab. 2 down now in the bottom of the 7th inning. Still runners at first and second base for Lincoln. That'll bring up the leadoff hitter, Matt Forgatch, who is 0 for 3 in this game. He's also 0 for 7 in the last couple of games. Forgatch batting .252 coming into this contest, and now has a chance with runners at first and second base and 2 outs in the bottom of the 7th inning. Been a real pitcher's duel between Kevin McGovern and Danny Gutierrez in the final game between these two teams this year. Gutierrez with the first pitch home to Forgatch, inside for ball 1. Matt Forgatch has played 3 years in the AA, 1 with Laredo and now 2 with the Salt Dogs. 1-0 pitch from Gutierrez, check swing, it's low and inside again for a 2-0 count to Forgatch. On deck is Luis Nunez. Airhogs have been out hit 6-3. We still have no score here in the bottom of the 7th. Gutierrez now closing in on 100 pitches. He's now at 97 and 75 strikes for the 27-year-old. Set at the letters and ready for the 2-0 pitch to Matt Forgatch. Here it is. Check swing again, and it's called strike 1 on the inside corner, making the count 2 balls and 1 strike. Final game of this road trip for the Airhogs. So far, they're 6-3 on this 10-game road trip, which has lasted a couple of weeks now. Broken bat on the next pitch. It's over to shortstop, and Mojica with a throw to second base to end the inning. So that is how we end the 7th. A ground out by the shortstop Forgatch. He reaches on the fielder's choice. They force out Pinckney at second base. And still no runs on the board. No runs on 2 hits for the Salt Dogs. They leave 2 men on base. And we go to the 8th. Still nothing Airhogs and Salt Dogs in the final game of this series. You're listening to Grand Prairie Airhogs Baseball. Welcome back to Grand Prairie Airhogs Baseball. Start of the 8th inning, and we're still looking for our first run of the game. Nothing between the Airhogs and Salt Dogs. Kevin McGovern back on the mound for Lincoln to start inning number 8 of his 5th start of the year. Now he winds up and delivers the first pitch to Frazier Hall. Swung on and missed by Hall on the curve. Hall tonight is 0 for 2 with a strikeout, as well as a ground out to the pitcher. He'll be followed by Brian Peterson and Eric Baker in this 8th inning, the 7, 8, 9 hitters for Grand Prairie. Swing and a big miss by Hall. Another curveball drifting low and away from his left-handed swing. And it's no balls and 2 strikes now to the 26-year-old right fielder. Lefty versus lefty in this matchup. Airhogs only 3 base hits in this game. Next pitch bounced on the ground on the right side. Gack with the stop at first base, flips to his pitcher who goes to the bag to cover. And it's out number 1. Well, the Airhogs were held scoreless last night as well, so it's now 16 innings where they have been held with no runs now. 16 consecutive innings, that is. They scored in the 9th inning of the second game of this 4-game set against Lincoln. They were shut out on just 6 hits last night against the Salt Dogs, as Zachary Vars went the distance on the mound for Lincoln. Brian Peterson swings and misses at the first pitch from McGovern there. Peterson is 0 for 2 as well with a strikeout and a ground out to shortstop. It has been a real pitcher's duel between these two. 11 strikeouts for Danny Gutierrez, the Airhogs starter, and 9 for McGovern and the Lincoln Salt Dogs. That's low for ball 1. McGovern is now up to 100 pitches after that last one. Here's number 101, a high and outside fastball at 89 miles per hour. It's now 2-1 to the 35-year-old veteran catcher, Brian Peterson, who's batting in the 8 hole and playing in his 11th game with the Airhogs this year. Batting .243 in those games, 2 home runs and 7 RBIs. 2-1 pitch, low and inside, 3-1 the count. Eric Baker on deck for the Airhogs. 1 out, nobody on base in the top of the 8th inning. Still no score in this final game of the 4-game set. 3-1 pitch, that's called strike 2 on the lower third of the zone. A full count now to Brian Peterson. Now the payoff pitch on the way from Kevin McGovern. Lined foul into the screen by Peterson, and it's still 3-2. Airhogs have only been shut out 5 times this year, and just once by the Salt Dogs. That was last night when Vars went the full distance for his 2nd complete game of the season. McGovern also has a complete game this year as he gets Brian Peterson swinging on that 89-mile-per-hour heater, and it's out number 2. Now McGovern has surpassed the 10 strikeout threshold with that punch out on Brian Peterson. 2 down and nobody on base in the 8th inning. Baker, with a couple of strikeouts tonight to go 0 for 2, now stands in against Kevin McGovern, the left-handed pitcher. The windup and the delivery from McGovern, swung on and foul-tipped by Eric Baker, the rookie, strike 1. Baker getting the start tonight, did not get any action in the last game. Did start on Thursday night for the Airhogs, going 1 for 4 with a double. The 0-1 pitch, just outside the plate there, and it's a ball and a strike to Baker. 26 years old, out of Rogers State University in his first professional year. Jimmy Mojica on deck with 2 outs and nobody on base. The 1-1 pitch is on the way from McGovern. Bouncer on the ground to the shortstop, Nunez. Grabs it and goes to first, and that is the top of the 8th inning for you. As Baker grounds out, and another 1-2-3 inning for McGovern, and we are still scoreless as we move to the bottom of the 8th here at Haymarket Park in Lincoln, Nebraska. You're listening to Grand Prairie Airhogs Baseball. Welcome back to Grand Prairie Airhogs baseball. It's the bottom of the 8th inning. The Airhogs and Salt Dogs are still scoreless here at Haymarket Park in Lincoln, Nebraska on this Saturday evening and the final game of this 4-game set. Airhogs going to the bullpen now. Tyrell Harris is in to relieve Danny Gutierrez. Gutierrez with a phenomenal outing, 7 scoreless innings, only 6 hits allowed to the Salt Dogs, 11 strikeouts and 1 walk for Gutierrez in his 4th start with the Airhogs. Harris on the season with the Grand Prairie Airhogs has a record of 2-3, an ERA of 4.57, pitched in a total of 21 2/3 innings through 17 appearances this year in an Airhogs uniform. First batter he'll face in this bottom of the 8th inning is Luis Nunez. He is 1 for 3 tonight with a double, which came in the 6th inning. Strike 1 called to Nunez on the first pitch. 0-1 the count against the veteran shortstop. It will be followed by John Gaston and Ian Gack in this bottom of the 8th inning, the 2-3-4 hitters for Lincoln. Harris, the first man out of the bullpen in this game. Here's the 0-1. Low and away for ball 1. Tyrell Harris started out this 2014 season in the Atlantic League playing for the Bridgeport Bluefish. He is the oldest member of the pitching staff for Grand Prairie at 27 years old, the only guy that was born before 1987. The 1-1 pitch is just a little high for ball 2. Luis Nunez is batting .291 in 32 games with the Salt Dogs, 6 home runs, 16 RBIs. Last night he went 1 for 3 with a run scored. The 2-1 pitch on the way from Harris, driven into right center field. Frazier Hall going back, makes the catch on the run. Just a few steps away from the warning track, and he is able to track down that fly ball into right by Luis Nunez, and it's 1 down in the 8th inning for Tyrell Harris. Next batter is John Gaston. He's reached twice tonight, once on a single in the 4th and again on a walk in the 6th inning. Left-handed designated hitter against the right-handed pitcher Tyrell Harris. Harris working from the windup with nobody on base. 1 out here in this bottom of the 8th inning. Here is the first pitch to John Gaston, taken just outside on the 89-mile-per-hour fastball. And 1-0 the count to Gaston. LS4 status player is Gaston. He played his college ball at the University of Arizona, now lives in Boise, Idaho. 1-0 pitch from Harris, popped in the air, foul down the left side. Now it's a ball and a strike with Ian Gack on deck for Lincoln. We started our game at 7:08 local time. Now it's 9:15, so we've had another quick ball game here at Haymarket Park. We haven't had a single game last 3 hours here in this 4-game set. The longest game was on Thursday night, the second game, 2 hours and 41 minutes. Last night, the Airhogs were shut out, and it only lasted 2 hours and 10 minutes. Now looking at the similar quick pace here in this one in the bottom of the 8th inning and just past 2 hours of gameplay. That's what you get when you have a pitcher's duel like this. The 2-1 is on the way. Swing and a miss by Gaston on a pitch in the dirt, and it's 2-2. Airhogs have been out-hit 6-3. The Salt Dogs have 2 errors compared to the Airhogs none, and we still have no score here in the bottom of the 8th inning. Left-handed batter against a right-handed pitcher. Harris winds up and delivers the 2-2 pitch. Swing and a miss on a changeup from Harris, and he gets a punch out there on out number 2. 12th strikeout for Airhogs pitching in this game. Danny Gutierrez, the starter, had 11. As the next batter with 2 outs and nobody on will be Ian Gack. 1 for 3 tonight is Gack with a single in the 4th inning, trying to improve his batting average, which right now is 3rd best in the league at .365. Right-handed batter against the right-handed reliever Tyrell Harris. Here is the windup and the first pitch. Driven straight to Abel Nieves, and he catches it on the ground. And that is out number 3 of the 8th inning. 1-2-3 inning in relief for Tyrell Harris. And after 8 complete innings here at Haymarket Park, we're still looking for our first run of the game between the Air Hogs and the Salt Dogs, the final game of this 4-game set. You're listening to Grand Prairie Air Hogs Baseball. Welcome back to Grand Prairie Air Hogs Baseball. We start the 9th inning without a run to give to you so far tonight. The Air Hogs and the Salt Dogs finishing out this 4-game set on a Saturday evening. And the Salt Dogs going to the bullpen after 8 scoreless innings from Kevin McGovern, the starter. Only 3 hits allowed from McGovern, facing 27 batters, 10 strikeouts and no walks. A great outing from him. And now Marshall Schuler, the closer for Lincoln, will be in for this 9th inning, leading it off against Jimmy Mojica. Mojica tonight is 1 for 3 with a single in the 3rd inning. First pitch is popped foul and is going to go out of play on the right side. Marshall Schuler was the losing pitcher on Thursday. He came in with the score tied in the 9th inning and then gave up 3 runs on 3 hits by the Air Hogs as they went on to win 6-3. Mojica led off that 9th inning. Schuler got 2 outs. And Abel Nieves broke the 3-3 tie, I should say, in that second game of the 4-game set with a solo home run to right field. Nieves is due up 3rd in this top of the 9th for the Air Hogs in the series finale. The 1-1 pitch is upstairs on a 91-mile-per-hour fastball from Schuler. 2-1 the count to Mojica. Schuler leads the American Association with 23 saves this year. He has a record of 3-5 and an ERA of 3.38. Pitched a total of 34 2/3 innings in 34 outings this year. 2 balls and a strike to Jimmy Mojica. The pitch is on the way from Marshall Schuler. Outside again. Schuler's got a pretty high-speed heater. It goes from around 90 to 95 miles per hour. Missing that time, and it's 3-1 with Alex Nunez on deck. Here is the next pitch, and it hits the outside corner this time. 3 balls and 2 strikes to Jimmy Mojica. Airhogs trying to avoid being shut out for the second straight game. They've been held scoreless in the last 17 innings that they have played. This is popped foul down the right side. The count remains at 3-2. Airhogs have been out hit in this game 6-3. 2 errors for the Salt Dogs in this game, none for the Airhogs. Mojica trying to get things started for this Airhogs offense here tonight as the payoff pitch comes from Marshall Schuler way inside, and Mojica will lead things off with a walk. That's the first walk of the game allowed by a Lincoln Salt Dogs pitcher, as McGovern went 8 innings in this one without allowing a walk. As the next batter is Alex Nunez, third baseman Kevin Howard shifted on the infield grass, expecting a bunt from Nunez. And you just might see that with Nunez's speed, as he will probably lay down a sacrifice bunt, but also try to beat it out at first base. Mojica leading off at first, being held on by Gack. Nobody out and a runner at first base. Bunt is being shown by Nunez. Now he pulls back and gets it into center field on the base hit, and Mojica goes from first to third base. Nunez pulled back on the bunt and then slapped that one on the ground. There was a big hole between third and short on the left side of the infield as Howard was shifted all the way past the pitcher's mound, expecting a sacrifice bunt attempt. And as a result, it's runners at the corners and nobody out for the Airhogs in the top of the 9th inning. Still no score, and the batter is Abel Nieves. What a savvy play from the 33-year-old veteran second baseman Alex Nunez, pulling back on the bunt and then making contact on the left side of the infield where there was a huge gap between Howard, the third baseman, and Nunez, the shortstop. Now the entire infield is on the grass now for Abel Nieves. That pitch gets away from Chris Anderson, and Mojica is going to score the first run of the game on a pitch that gets away from Chris Anderson, the catcher. Moving from first to second is Nunez, and the Airhogs lead at 1-0 in the 9th. Unsure what the ruling is there, whether it's a wild pitch or a passed ball. It appeared to come off of the mitt of Chris Anderson, as that is a huge development here in this 9th inning. Schuler once again giving up a run in the 9th inning with the score tied in the second game that he has appeared in. It will be ruled a wild pitch to Marshall Schuler, not a pass ball to Anderson. And Abel Nieves with a 1-0 count against Schuler with a runner at second base and still nobody out. Swing and a miss on the fastball at 94 from Marshall Schuler, and it's a ball and a strike. So the Airhogs now with a chance to get some insurance runs before going to the bottom of the 9th inning with the lead late in this game. A ball and a strike to Nieves. Here is the pitch. Low over the plate for ball 2. Jason Botts is on deck for the Airhogs with a runner at second base and nobody out for Nieves at the plate now. 1-0, the Airhogs lead it in the 9th. Jimmy Mojica scoring on a Marshall Schuler wild pitch. The 2-1 pitch is driven into left field, and it's a base hit for Nieves. Nunez is going to be waved home, and it's bobbled by Jeremy Hamilton as he throws to second base, and Nieves is going to be safe. Scoring is Nunez on the play, and it is 2-0 Airhogs here in the 9th. Abel Nieves driving in. Alex Nunez on that single. And Jeremy Hamilton mishandling the ground ball in left field. So unclear whether it will be an error, and it is going to be an error to the left fielder, Jeremy Hamilton. Still an RBI single for Abel Nieves, as Jason Botts is the next batter. Still a runner at second base and nobody out. as Jason Botts will try to drive in Abel Nieves. He looks at strike one on the outside corner. Three errors now in the game for the Lincoln Salt Dogs, and now the Air Hogs are on the scoreboard first. 2 runs here in this 9th inning on a couple of hits. Line foul, and it's a screamer into the stands on the left side from Jason Botts. 0-2 the count. Botts tonight is 1 for 3, extending his hitting streak to 12 games. Now batting lefty as the switch hitter against the right-handed pitcher, Marshall Schuler. Here's the 0-2. Just outside on the changeup that time. And it's a ball and 2 strikes to Jason Botts. Marshall Schuler once again allowing a couple of runs to the Air Hogs with the score tied in the 9th inning. Schuler has been reliable in these situations for Lincoln. Outside again to Botts on the next pitch, 2-2. Schuler's 26 years old. Last season played for the El Paso Diablos in the AA. El Paso folding after the end of last season. Schuler played his college ball at the Colorado School of Mines. Runner at second base, nobody out. Botts a 2-2 pitch. He looks at it outside, and it's a full count now to Jason Botts with Brian Myro on deck. Nobody out in this top of the 9th inning. The Air Hogs have scored the first couple of runs of this game in the 9th. And Jason Botts looking for more here as the payoff pitch comes to him. It's lined foul down the left side, and it'll go out of play. Jason Botts, 9 home runs and 54 RBIs, leads the Air Hogs in both of those categories. Abel Nieves will be given an RBI on that single, even though Jeremy Hamilton did bobble the ground ball in left field, which scored Alex Nunez. This is hit hard foul down the first base line by Jason Botts. He stays alive with a full count. So Nieves now with 30 runs batted in this year with Grand Prairie, the former American Association batting champ with the Wichita Wingnuts. Now he's at second base with nobody out, and Jason Botts with a full count. Left-handed batter, right-handed pitcher. Schuler's set at the belt, and he brings the payoff pitch to Botts. Low over the plate, it's ball 4. Second walk allowed by Schuler in this inning. First one was to Mojica, and he went on to score on a wild pitch. So now Brian Myro will be the batter with runners at first and second base. And nobody out, and it looks like Eric Champion will be calling for a pinch runner, pointing to the dugout, and it'll be Madison Carter running for Jason Botts at first base. Carter pinch ran earlier in this series for Botts in the second game of this 4-game set, and he ended up scoring a run in the 9th inning. Now comes in for this top of the 9th in the final game. Botts is the DH, so Carter shouldn't be expected to be entering into the game for the Air Hogs defensively, as Brian Myro looks at the first pitch just a little outside and high over the zone for ball 1. Myro tonight is 1 for 3 with a single, which came all the way back in the second inning. That was our first base hit of the game. Now the Air Hogs have 2 runs on 5 hits and have a 2-0 lead in this top of the 9th. That's called strike 1 on the outside edge of the zone. 89 miles per hour on the fastball from Marshall Schuler. Runners at first and second base, nobody out in the top of the 9th inning. 1-1 pitch is low and outside, a 91 mile per hour fastball that time, but it's 2-1 to Brian Myro with Vince DeFazio on deck for Grand Prairie. The first run scored on a wild pitch by Schuler, scoring Jimmy Mojica from third base. And then Alex Nunez scored on an RBI single by Nieves. That's hit to the shortstop, He goes to second and over to first. A 6-4-3 double play. Started by Luis Nunez at shortstop. The Lincoln Salt Dogs turned 4 double plays in the last game and get their first of the night here in the 9th inning. That's 2 outs and now a runner at third base as Nieves goes to third base on the play. The next batter will be Vince DeFazio with 2 outs. DeFazio tonight is 0 for 3. He reached once on a fielder's choice in the 2nd inning. First pitch to DeFazio is upstairs for ball 1. DeFazio in the 9th inning of Thursday night's game had a 2-run RBI double with runners at first and second base. Now has a runner at third with 2 outs. Pops this pitch foul over the screen. A ball and a strike to DeFazio. He went 4 for 5 in Thursday night's contest with 3 doubles on the night. That was his first start back with the Airhogs since injuring his knee on July 21st in the first game of this road trip against Kansas City. A ball and a strike the count. Schuler with the kick and the 1-1 pitch. Just outside, 94 on the gun. But the count moves to 2 balls and 1 strike. Frazier Hall on deck. Nieves at third. 2 outs in the 9th. Airhogs with a 2-0 lead. Now warming up in the pen is Dakota Watts for the Airhogs, their closer, who will, in all likelihood, be coming in to try and earn his 18th save of the year. Hit on the ground on the 2-1 pitch. Diving to stop it is Howard. Goes to first, and that is an out. DeFazio can't believe it. It was a one-hop throw to Gack. He dug it out of the dirt to complete the out at first base. And that ends the top of the 9th inning, but the Airhogs are on the board first. 2-run score on 2 hits, 1 error by the Salt Dogs, and a man left by Grand Prairie. Going to the bottom of the 9th, the Airhogs have a 2-0 lead and will look to go 7-3 on the road trip. You're listening to Grand Prairie Airhogs Baseball. Welcome back to Grand Prairie Airhogs baseball. Dakota Watts is in as the Airhogs lead 2-0 in the bottom of the ninth, scoring 2 runs in that top half of the inning. And Dakota Watts looking for save number 18 on the year. Comes in relief of Tyrell Harris, who is now in line for the win. Harris with a 1-2-3 inning in the 8th with 1 strikeout, no runs and no hits allowed. Watts with the first pitch to Kevin Howard. Bounced on the ground to Nieves at third. He easily settles and throws to first base for a 1-pitch, 1-out for Dakota Watts in the 9th inning. Dakota Watts on the season has an ERA of 3, a record of 0-2, appeared in 32 games, and pitched a total of 36 innings. 17 for 20 in his save opportunities this year. He got the save on Thursday night against the Salt Dogs, sitting them down 1-2-3. Airhogs with some late game heroics in this one and trying to close it out here in the 9th. Dakota Watts ready to pitch to the next batter, Brian Joint. Called strike 1 to Joint. He is 1 for 3 tonight. He had a single in the 7th inning and had a home run in last night's game. Watts is set on the mound. Brings it to the belt. Here is the 0-1. Hit foul over the screen, and it's no balls and 2 strikes. Defensively, the Airhogs did make a change. Madison Carter, who pinch ran for Botts, the DH, is now playing in left field. So that is basically saying that Carter is taking Myro's place defensively. Dakota Watts is now in the lineup technically, taking Brian Myro's spot as Joint is going to swing and miss at that 91-mile-per-hour fastball from Dakota Watts. He gets a strikeout, and that's quickly 2 outs here in the bottom of the 9th. So the pitcher, Dakota Watts, is batting 5th in the lineup for Brian Myro, the left fielder. And then that moves Madison Carter, who pinch ran for Botts, into left field. Watts now ready to bring it to Brandon Pinckney, the next batter. That's called strike 1. Pinckney tonight 2 for 3 with a double and a single. Right-handed batter against a right-handed pitcher. A couple of former teammates facing off with 2 outs and nobody on in the bottom of the 9th inning. Called strike 2 on the outside edge. 92 on the gun from Dakota Watts. Still hasn't thrown a pitch off the plate in this, so far, what has been a 6-pitch 9th inning for him. Now about to deliver his 7th pitch with 2 outs and nobody on. Looking for save number 18 of the year. Set at the belt, here's the 0-2. Swing and a miss, and the Airhogs get a big victory here in Lincoln, Nebraska. 2-0 is your final score. 2 runs in the 9th, and Dakota Watts with a couple of strikeouts. Another 1-2-3 inning for him, and he gets his 18th save of the season. The Airhogs finish off a great 10-game road trip, going 7 for 3, and they take this series 3-1. They have now won their last 5 road series this year, and they will start a 8-game homestand tomorrow against the Laredo Lemurs. That's the start of a 4-game series, as the Airhogs now move to 32-38 on the season. Your winning pitcher is Tyrell Harris with an inning in relief. No runs on no hits, a strikeout for him, and no walks. Dakota Watts with his 18th save of the year, 2 strikeouts in a 1-2-3 inning. Losing pitcher, once again, is Marshall Schuler with an inning of work in the 9th inning. 2 runs allowed on 2 hits and 2 walks as well. So that's your game here at Haymarket Park in Lincoln, Nebraska. The Airhogs finally finish this road trip after a couple of weeks on the road. They will go back to Quick Trip Park to face off against the Laredo Lemurs tomorrow evening. That's a Sunday at Quick Trip Park. Now, starting at 5:05 p.m., the Airhogs will finish up a postponed game with the Laredo Lemurs. That game was postponed way back in late May due to rain at Quick Trip Park. The game is tied at 2, after 8 innings. So before the start of the 4-game set at 6:05 p.m., at 5:05, the Airhogs and Lemurs will finish out that postponed game and pick it up in the top of the 9th inning tomorrow afternoon. So that is what we will have for you live on independentprofessionalbaseball.com on Sunday afternoon. So this one ends in a win for the Airhogs. Here are your final lines for tonight's game. The Grand Prairie Airhogs score 2 runs on 5 hits, no errors, and 4 men left on base. For the Lincoln Salt Dogs, no runs, 6 hits, 3 errors, 7 left. Winning pitcher is Tyrell Harris. Losing pitcher Marshall Schuler. And the guy getting the save on the mound, Dakota Watts. 18th save of the year for him. Airhogs finish the road trip 7-3, start an 8-game homestand tomorrow. Thank you for tuning in to Grand Prairie Airhogs Baseball live on Ustream. Until tomorrow afternoon, I'm Andy Humphrey. So long from Haymarket Park. Once again, our final score, the Grand Prairie Airhogs 2, the Lincoln Salt Dogs nothing. We'll see you tomorrow on independentprofessionalbaseball.com at 5:05 p.m. So long from Haymarket Park in Lincoln, Nebraska. We'll see you next time, everyone.